the scratching at the door. I've never liked being home alone, especially at night. The house feels too big, too quiet, and every creak in the floorboard seems magnified in the silence. My parents went out for the night, leaving me with the usual instructions. Lock the doors, don't stay up too late, and call if anything happens. Easy enough. By 10:30, I was curled up on the couch with the TV on, half watching some show while scrolling through my phone. That's when I first heard it, faint but distinct. A scratching sound coming from the back of the house. At first, I thought it was branches brushing against the siding, maybe swaying in the wind. But when I muted the TV, the sound didn't stop. It was slow, dragging, like nails scraping along wood. I stood up, trying to convince myself it was nothing. Still, I crept into the kitchen, every step heavy and deliberate, as if the house itself was holding its breath with me. When I reached the back door, the noise stopped. I flicked on the porch light, squinting through the small glass window in the door. Nothing. The yard was empty. The trees were completely still. I locked the deadbolt, maybe tighter than before, and tried to laugh it off. But my hands were trembling, and I couldn't shake the uneasy weight pressing down on me. Back in the living room, I turned the volume up higher and tried to lose myself in the show. 10 minutes passed. I was just starting to relax when a new sound broke through. Knocking. 3 heavy thuds at the front door. Each one rattled the picture frames on the walls. I froze on the couch, breath caught in my throat, unable to move. Whoever it was didn't knock again. They just stayed there, waiting. I finally forced myself to grab my phone. My hands shook as I dialed my parents, but the call went straight to voicemail. I tried again. Same result. The silence in the house was unbearable. My pulse roared in my ears, and the longer I sat there, the stronger the sense grew that someone, or something, was right on the other side of that door. Finally, gathering what little courage I had, I crept toward the front hallway. My footsteps felt deafening against the hardwood. I didn't open the door. I didn't even touch the lock. I just leaned forward and peeked through the peephole. Nothing. Just darkness. My chest tightened and a wave of nausea rolled over me. I backed away quickly, but before I could even breathe, I heard it again. The scratching, this time at the living room window. I turned slowly, my entire body frozen in dread. And that's when I saw it. A pale hand, long fingers with sharp nails dragging down the glass, leaving faint streaks in the glow of the TV. My eyes moved upward and locked onto the face pressed against the window. The skin looked stretched too tight, the eyes bulging unnaturally wide, and the mouth, oh God, the mouth, hung open in a soundless scream, like it was trying to swallow the entire pane of glass. I stumbled backward, gasping, my scream caught in my throat. And then, as if the house itself had been waiting for that moment, every light in the place went out at once. The TV flickered off, the lamps, the porch light. I was left standing in absolute darkness. And that's when it hit me. The scratching at the door, the knocking, the face at the window. It hadn't been trying to get inside. It had been distracting me, because whatever it was already inside the house. The knocks in the dark. I don't scare easily. I've lived in this house my whole life, and I know its moods, every creak in the floorboards, every draft sneaking through the old windows, even the groan of the pipes when someone runs hot water. So when my parents told me they'd be gone for the night, I shrugged it off. Just another quiet evening. At first, it was peaceful. Too peaceful. The kind of silence where the hum of the fridge sounds like a roar, and you start noticing things you usually ignore. I was curled up on the couch, scrolling through my phone, when I heard it. 3 slow, deliberate knocks on the back door. I froze. Nobody ever comes to the back door. For a moment, I told myself it was just the wind rattling something outside. But then it came again. 3 knocks. This time sharper, harder, like whoever was there wanted me to know they weren't leaving. Heart pounding, I crept toward the kitchen. My legs felt heavier the closer I got. The back door has a small square window at the top, and I forced myself to look through it. Pitch black. Nothing moved outside. No shape, no shadow. Just the dark yard pressing against the glass. I exhaled and tried to laugh it off, but as I turned back toward the living room, I froze. The front door handle was jiggling, slowly, cautiously, like someone was testing it. My stomach dropped. My parents always told me to keep the doors locked, and tonight, I was grateful I had listened. I tiptoed down the hallway, every creak of the floor sounding like a gunshot. My dad keeps a baseball bat leaned against the stairs, and I grabbed it with clammy hands. I pressed my ear against the front door. The handle stopped. Silence. Then, my phone buzzed in my pocket. The vibration nearly made me scream. I yanked it out and my hands shook as I looked at the screen. A text from an unknown number. "Why did you look out the back door?" I dropped the phone. My vision blurred, my chest tight. Whoever it was, they saw me. They were watching. The silence returned, but it was different now. Heavier. Waiting. I backed away slowly, my bare feet brushing against the cool wooden floor. I was halfway up the stairs when I heard it. The slow, dragging sound of footsteps inside the house. Not from the front door, not from the back, from the living room. They were already in. I ran upstairs, slamming my bedroom door and locking it with trembling fingers. I could hear them below me, one step at a time, heavy, deliberate, patient. The kind of footsteps that weren't searching, but following. I sat on the floor, baseball bat in one hand, phone in the other, praying for the sound of my parents' car pulling into the driveway. But all I heard was the creak of the stairs as the footsteps began to climb. The face at the window. I hate being home alone at night. The house feels too big, too quiet, like it's holding its breath. My parents had gone out for dinner, telling me they'd be back around midnight. I laughed it off at first. What was the worst that could happen? Just me, the TV, and the hum of the heater. The first hour was fine. I microwaved leftovers, scrolled through my phone, and put on a movie to keep myself distracted. But after a while, I started feeling off. That strange sensation you can't explain, like someone's eyes are following you, even when you're alone. I muted the TV and listened. The silence was so heavy I could hear the faint ticking of the kitchen clock. I told myself I was imagining it, until I heard the sound. Crunch. The unmistakable sound of footsteps on gravel. My stomach sank. Our driveway is long, and I hadn't heard a car pull in. The footsteps were slow, careful, like whoever it was didn't want to be noticed. I crept to the front window and pushed the curtain just slightly aside. Nothing. Just the dark stretch of yard and the street light at the end of the driveway, flickering like it was dying. I told myself it was probably an animal, a fox, a stray cat, anything but a person. I went back to the couch, turning the volume up just a little higher this time. Then it came, a soft, deliberate tapping at the living room window. I froze. My heart stopped for a second. The curtains were drawn tight, but I didn't need to see to know something, or someone, was right outside. The tapping came again, slow and measured, like a fingernail lightly dragging across glass. My body screamed at me not to look, but I couldn't help it. I stepped forward, every inch of me trembling, and pinched the curtain between two shaking fingers. Slowly, carefully, I pulled it back just enough to see. There was a face staring back at me, pale, expressionless. The skin looked almost gray under the dim glow from the streetlight, and the eyes, wide, unblinking, locked onto mine. The mouth was stretched into a smile that didn't move, didn't twitch, didn't breathe. I dropped the curtain and stumbled backward so hard I nearly tripped over the coffee table. My phone slid off the couch, clattering across the floor. My hands were slick with sweat as I scrambled for it, dialing 000 with fingers that felt numb. While it rang, the tapping started again. Not at the living room window this time, at the kitchen window, then the back door, then faintly, upstairs. Tap, 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 like there was more than one of them. The operator answered, but my words came out broken and panicked, my voice cracking as I tried to explain. I kept my eyes locked on the hallway, waiting for the sound of glass breaking, for a shadow to slip inside. Then I heard it, the slow metallic creak of the front door handle turning. It was locked, but the sound told me they were testing it, pushing, waiting. I begged the operator to hurry, to send someone, anyone. And that's when it hit me. The sound above me, a single dragging footstep on the upstairs floorboards. Someone was already inside,